Welcome back to Up. I'm David Gura. There are calls this morning for another member of President Trump's cabinet to resign. Alexander Acosta, a former U.S. attorney who is now the Secretary of Labor. At issue is a non-prosecution deal for Jeffrey Epstein, a multimillionaire financier charged with sexually abusing more than 30 teenage girls over 10 years. Alexander Acosta oversaw that deal, and a Florida judge has just ruled prosecutors broke the law by concealing a plea agreement from the victims. At the White House, the president was pressed on that matter yesterday.
Mr. President, do you have any concerns about the Labor Secretary's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein case?
I really don't know too much about it. I know he's done a great job as Labor Secretary, and that seems like a long time ago, but I know he's been a fantastic Labor Secretary.
So there's the president addressing this. I want to play one more bit of tape here. This is Secretary Acosta himself during his confirmation hearings. This was something he was asked about time and time again. Let's listen to what he had to say in response to those questions about his involvement in this case.
This matter was originally a state case. It was presented by the state attorney to the grand jury in Palm Beach County. The grand jury in Palm Beach County recommended a single count of solicitation not involving minors, I believe, and that would have resulted in 0 jail time, 0 registration as a sexual offender.
Glenn Kirshner, one reads the 3-part series in the Miami Herald about all of this with a growing sense of nausea. It is a disgusting, reprehensible thing that happened in Florida. Walk us through what happened here this week, all of this centering on the Federal Crime Victim Rights Act. How does it play into this, and what does this mean for Jeffrey Epstein? What does it mean also for the Secretary of Labor who oversaw this?
So, David, back in 2004, the Crime Victims' Rights Act, the CVRA as we called it, was enacted into law. It gave victims unprecedented rights in the criminal justice system, which we all, I think, I'm not going to lie, we were a little bit fearful of it at first, because it used to be there was the prosecutor and the defense attorney, and those were the two people who had rights, so to speak, in the criminal litigation. Now, as of October of 2004, victims had rights, and they had dramatic rights. For example, and this is how the Acosta-Epstein thing comes into play, as part of the Victims' Bill of Rights in the CVRA, a victim can actually object to a plea offer that the prosecutor extends to the defense attorney. And the victim can go into court and say, Judge, I don't like this. I don't feel like my rights are being protected and vindicated.
That's what's supposed to happen.
That's what's supposed to happen. And guess what? If the judge accepts that plea offer over the victim's objection, the victim can appeal that decision. So we had to implement this in 2004. We had to train our prosecutors to make sure you protect every single right the CVRA grants to victims. Now we have Acosta apparently in what looks like these ugly backroom deals between Acosta as the U.S. attorney in Florida at the time and Epstein's lawyers to not only cover up the horrific crimes that Epstein had committed. I mean, sex trafficking, underage girls. I mean, these are some of the most vulnerable victims in our country. But they lied to Acosta lied to the victims about it. Don't worry, there will be a federal prosecution. We're going to vindicate your rights. And then he never did. So here, I think, is the important endgame to what is going on right now. The Crime Victims' Rights Act is not a criminal statute. So Acosta can't be prosecuted for violating it. He can be disbarred. He should certainly be fired as the Secretary of Labor, or he should resign. OPR, the Department of Justice Office of Professional Responsibility, has opened an investigation, and it's a crack outfit, I can tell you, into what Acosta did back then. But here's one thing that I have been thinking about. How can Acosta be held accountable in the most dramatic way? Well, you know what? If he conspired with Epstein's lawyers to basically pull the wool over the victim's eyes, the Crime Victims' Rights Act might not be a criminal statute, but conspiring to violate it is a criminal offense. And I can only hope that this thing is fully investigated. And if criminal jurisdiction is in the mix somehow, I hope Acosta is held accountable, because this is reprehensible.
Well, and David, I think we also just have to remember, none of these things are isolated incidents, right? So the Acosta-Epstein situation, Bob Kraft, and if it is indeed sex trafficking and not just sex work, Bob Kraft and 100 other men who were involved in this in Florida, and also R. Kelly, right? We are seeing capitalism and patriarchy come and collide in a way in our nation where these are things that women have been talking about for decades. And we're seeing some of the men in the highest offices of power abusing that in a way. And we know that the president somehow is constantly attached to these types of men. And this is also part of the
He's
problem.
also abusing the topic because he
Very quickly, I want to get to that. Let's play a bit. We played a bit of clip there from President Trump at the Oval Office yesterday. He was asked about Bob Kraft, his friend, longtime friend, in that Oval Office availability yesterday as well. Let's take a listen to what the president had to say about that.
What about the charges against Bob Kraft? He's a friend of yours.
Well, it's very sad. I was very surprised to see it. He's proclaimed his innocence totally, but I'm very surprised to see it.
Philippe, he's proclaimed his innocence totally. This is a recurring theme now when you listen to the president.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, he goes from I don't know anything about the topic to whatever. All he does is watch TV all day, so I don't know why he doesn't know about these things. But he's also, if he's not saying he doesn't know, he's saying he's talking about sex trafficking with women with blue tape, with duct tape over their mouths, and that's why we need a $25 billion border. There's a total disconnect between tolerating someone in your cabinet who played a role in this and saying that it's the biggest national security threat. It is an incredibly serious issue. Acosta should not be a cabinet member. He should probably be a lot worse than that. But it's going to be a slow motion car wreck. It's going to be another Ryan Zinke. It's going to be another Tom Price, where this goes on for 5-6 months. He should be gone before this show is over.
Yeah, and can I just say one
Very
quick
quickly,
thing?
yes.
President Trump, it's remarkable who he will give the benefit of the doubt to and who he won't. He said something very similar about Vladimir Putin to that. He said he didn't do it.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.